Hello, welcome to the next video. This might be a little bit different, this one. Probably see by the title of the video. Something that's increasingly concerning when being out on the bike and chatting to cyclists. And that's the whole debate about angry people. Before I get into that though, I'm going to revisit the route I did on Wednesday to see if it was the route or if it was me that was knackered, because I was. So let's see how that goes, eh? I won't bother recording a great deal of it, but we'll probably have a bit of a chat on the way. Typically, diversion. So I was going over the west side of Kendal, so I'd already done some climbing. The road's closed. So I've had to descend back into town, or near town, and go back up the hill that I shouldn't need to go up. But hey ho, never mind, up we go again. Typical. So I've just stopped to say hello to someone. I was just passing their place. Well, no, I was just passing where they're staying, and the cleats have just completely obliterated. They've died a regal death. They were getting close to anyway, so gonna have to turn around, go back to Kendal, buy some more, fit them, go home, because I'm running out of time already. Never mind, I was feeling good. Thankfully, Giant Kendal is open. Really nice guys in there, so I popped in, bought some cleats, let me borrow the tools to swap them over, clipped in again. The sound of clipping in worked, yes, but now it's raining. Still warm, but it's now raining. I've only done like 14 miles, so I'm going to go homewards, but I might go a bit of a circuitous route to get there, and then we can have a sit down and start talking about being nice to each other. Yes, whoever it was complaining about the weather being too hot, it's an hour's detention for you. Report yourself to the headmaster immediately. Not good, this rain, lark. Anyway, it's nice to be back in cleats again. What a difference. I didn't realise just how knackered mine were. Turns out, very. Pedalling's become far easier again. So, hello. We need to fix this, don't we? There's a big issue, and it's becoming a wider issue right now. This country's really horribly divided at the moment in just about every concept going. This whole everyone versus cyclists thing, can we fix it? It really needs to stop. It really got to stop. I see so many occurrences of near misses. These are personal experiences as well. I've got some screenshots. I'll try and put them on here, of close passes. Daily. They really are terrifying, and people need to understand that we're all out there to have a nice time and be together on this planet. We need to stop getting at each other's throats. Everyone's guilty, literally everyone, but there's a huge amount of anti-cycling stuff at the moment, anti-cyclist stuff, not just anti-cycling, it's anti-cyclist stuff, and it's really upsetting. I've asked a lot of people their opinions on this, cyclists, non-cyclists. I'm trying to get a broader view, and the overwhelming majority have the same opinion that cyclists are an inconvenience to them. And I'm sorry, that just doesn't cut it with me, and it doesn't cut it with anyone. I'll give some examples. There's a ride I did last Sunday where we got beeped at. It was just somebody who was just a bit pissed off because they were having to wait to overtake us. We were riding side by side, which I'll get into later, and they were just being impatient. The impatience of a driver it's not a factor in here. It really isn't something that should be even considered. The highway code states that riders are perfectly permitted to ride side by side, and let's put this really simply. If there's 4 riders riding two abreast on a regular road, it makes an overtake shorter than if 4 are line astern. If there's 4 in a line and it's a single track road, like lane coming out of the way, dual lane blacktop if you wish to call it, if a car has to overtake them, it takes them ages to overtake. It's a very long way. It's like trying to overtake 3 cars instead of 1. Now you have to go into the other lane to overtake anyway, because it's safe. You need to give cyclists room. I'll explain again in a moment. So if you have to overtake them in the oncoming lane to overtake 1 cyclist, it's the same to overtake 2 cyclists side by side. There's no difference. You have to go into the other lane. Now a lot of the issue comes with this new law, which isn't a new law, it's just been reiterated, that you have to give 6 foot or 1.5 metres to cyclists. And a lot of people have got really upset at that, and I can't understand why. There's too many close passes happen, and it is, put simply, really dangerous. It's terrifying as a cyclist when people come past you at 50, 60 mile an hour that far away. And I have been almost brushed at that speed, and it's lethal. It is lethal. Cyclists don't cycle in a straight line. There are potholes, grates in the road, cracks in the road, little divots, glass, gravel, mud, puddles, everything in the way. And, especially uphill, you're side by side. So, you need to give a buffer zone to cyclists. Cyclists are trying to ride in a straight line. They're trying their best to not be a hindrance to road users. All cyclists, well, let's say all, most cyclists also drive. They get it. They get it from both sides. Now, another point was raised yesterday with somebody that I spoke to. Why don't they ride on the cycle paths? Well, for instance, around here in the Lake District, there's virtually none. And what are there, and I'm sure this is the same in a lot of the country, are so terribly thought out by the local councils, they're unusable. For instance, in Kendal, there's a few that are shared with pedestrians, they're shared lanes, so we're both allowed to use it. It's dangerous to use these as a cyclist, who's someone who's not just pottering about. So if you're, a road cyclist like myself, who going out and doing it for exercise or putting effort in, you're not going slowly. So you tend to be going between 15 and 25 miles an hour. You're not going to be using what is effectively a pavement covered in people, dogs, children. So you go on the road. And again, as the highway code states, we are perfectly entitled to use the road just like anyone else. And being as that we are drivers, and being as we pay income tax, which pays for the roads, we contribute to the maintenance of the roads in the first place. There's no such thing as road tax. Put that aside, because road tax was abolished 50 years ago, nearly 48 years ago. Road tax isn't a thing. You pay vehicle fund licence, don't you? And it's based on emissions. Cyclists don't emit any emissions, and they don't have any environmental impact on the road. So their contribution to the degradation of the road is negligible. Let's be honest, isn't it? The old cyclist here, there's not going to tear up a road much like a HGV or thousands of cars a day. But cyclists jump red lights. Most of them don't. Most cyclists are, like most humans, nice people. They do not want to be breaking law. I've seen it myself, and it's disappointing. Us cyclists, we need to do our bit as well to contribute to this harmony that needs to happen again. We've got to start communicating and not arguing. It's a lesson that we all need to learn. We need to stop going at each other, because that's all it is at the moment. We're trying to educate. As you can tell, it's just it's an emotive subject. I'll give you another example of a cycle path. There's a cycle path that starts at the roundabout at the bottom of Kirkson Pass and heads out towards Ambleside. It's unusable. It's effectively a path. It's full of people walking because it's a beautiful area. And moreover, it's covered in gravel, in road grime, leaves. It's just the road. It's not swept like a road would be. Cars sweep roads, they get rid of all the stuff, and it gets shoved over to the side of the road in the gully where cyclists try and avoid, and onto the pavement. Unusable. One other point that was made to me the other day was, well, why are cyclists allowed to come really close past inside cars in slow traffic? They're allowed to. You're allowed to pass slow or stopped traffic on the left or the right. They're the rules. Now, but cyclists can go past us when what if we open our doors? You shouldn't be opening your doors. You should be checking if everything is safe before you open your doors. You check your mirrors to see if somebody's walking past. You do it for a bike. So why do we have to give so much room to cyclists when cyclists don't give us any room? It's really simple. You pass a cyclist with plenty of room because you create a bow wave. It can buffet a cyclist, and it's dangerous. You're very close to running over a human being, whether they're being on a bike or not. If you do that to a pedestrian, I'm sure that pedestrian will be very, very upset with you as well. It's very dangerous. When a cyclist goes past a car, it's generally at below 20 miles an hour. You're not putting the car or the driver in any danger. But why do we have to give cyclists 1.5 metres when they can squeeze past in traffic? Well, there's several answers to that. You're supposed to give cyclists a lot of room because, as I've already mentioned, they don't necessarily go in a straight line. Second point, you create a bow wave in a car, a van, a truck. It's quite dangerous. It buffets. If you ever overtake a lorry on the motorway, you feel the wind pushing you about. It's exactly the same for the cyclist. Cyclists are vulnerable. You give room to cyclists because it's dangerous not to. Now, cyclists generally go past cars in traffic at much, much slower speeds. And let's be honest, you're not going to endanger a car or a driver when a cyclist is going past. Now, on very rare occasions, some people have had wing mirrors clipped, a little bit of head damage. That is not the intention. Now, if a cyclist does that, you should be stopping, holding your hands up and exchanging details or giving phone number, just finding a way to resolve the issue. You know, if someone scratches your car, you're going to be annoyed, aren't you? So you're going to want that paid for and corrected. Yeah, don't jump red lights and be observant when you're on your bike. We all are, because we're looking out for ourselves. Us cyclists, we're the vulnerable people in these whole situations. Somebody sat in a car or a van, a truck, a lorry, a bus, whatever, they're not in danger. So if a cyclist chooses to go through a gap which is more than wide enough, because they will go through if it isn't, it's up to them to make that decision. They're looking out for their own safety. Now, you do get the occasional idiot, they're hunting segments, or they're just, well, you get knobheads everywhere, don't you? Let's be honest, if someone's a knobhead on their bike, they're going to be a knobhead in a car, when they're walking, in the pub, any situation. Putting Lycra and a helmet on doesn't turn you into a different human being, does it? I think you get where I'm going with this. We all need to just look out for each other a bit better. Let's just look after each other. Be patient. It's not worth a couple of seconds of your inconvenience to endanger the life of someone, because that is what you're doing. And that's us cyclists. Let's try and talk to people instead of just shouting. Hey, I'm guilty of shouting and ranting at cars as they've gone past me. You do that, it's reactionary. But they're over there, they can't hear you, you're getting the thoughts out. We need to discuss in a wider circle. Other countries are far better set up for cycling. And some other counties, Yorkshire, they seem to do it really well out there. They have a culture of celebrating cycling much more than most places in the UK. And so the drivers seem to be more respectful. I'm assuming because cycling is so prevalent in Yorkshire. Yorkshire is a fantastic place to cycle. I need to get out there more often. But we just need to be just more respectful towards each other. Can we do that? Please. That would be good. Then we can all get on and be safe and enjoy our hobbies. I think there's something like 3 or 4 million people weekly cycle. That's a huge section of society. We're out doing our thing, enjoying our thing, just as other people are going out to play football or going to the pub or tennis or cricket or anything. We're just out doing our thing, trying to have a nice time, trying to get fit. Some of us are trying to raise money, others are just being out because they enjoy it or doing other challenges. Cyclists aren't out there to annoy others. They're out there to do what they like doing, just like you do. They're not trying to upset anyone because, let's be honest, they're the vulnerable ones. So let's be a bit nicer towards each other, yeah? But cyclists do this and cyclists do that. Cyclists jump red lights and cyclists do this. How many drivers are convicted yearly for drink driving, drug driving, driving without due care and attention, middle lane hogging? Everyone's got a part to play to make this world a safer place for everyone. But cyclists don't have insurance. Sorry, but lots of them actually do. The general public don't seem to be aware of this. Lots of club cyclists have to be signed up to British Cycling and therefore have some level of insurance, and some even go fully out and get full comprehensive cycle insurance for their own safety and for the safety of others and for damages in accidents, which happens a lot. So can we all share the love a bit more? Can we try and understand the predicament and the situation that everybody else is in? Doesn't take much effort, just a little deep breath. And let's be respectful.